Hola clase, habla la profesora B y hoy vamos a hablar sobre los sustantivos. Today we're going to be talking about nouns. In Spanish you say sustantivos, nouns. And all nouns have gender in Spanish, masculine, feminine, and number, singular, and plural, as we will learn in these slides. Entonces los sustantivos, nouns, tienen género femenino, masculino, y número singular o plural. Vamos a ver los artículos primero. In order to identify the nouns as feminine or masculine, we need to learn the articles. Okay? Los artículos definidos, definite articles. In English, you just have the. Okay, the. In Spanish, we have 4 different forms of the. El, la, los, las. We have el, la, which is singular, los, las, which is plural. So we have el and los masculine, la y las feminine, as we'll be using with the nouns. So when the nouns are masculine, you will be using el or los, singular, plural. And if it's feminine, you'll be using la and las. You also have to know about artículos indefinidos, which are indefinite articles. Un, una, unos, unas. So un, una means a or an. Unos, unas means a few or some. As you can see here, we have singular, un, una. Unos, unas are plural. Which ones are masculine? Un and unos. Which ones are feminine? Una and unas. So this is a good way to remember the masculine nouns. The book has its own version, but I think it's so much easier to remember like this. Masculine, loner. Okay? It's a good way to remember. Men are loners. Just kidding. It's just masculine, we use loner. So every word that ends in L, O, N, E, R, for the most part, will be masculine. Of course, there are exceptions to the rules, especially with the ones that end in E, could be feminine or masculine, you have to memorize. So in this case, you just have to memorize el café. So whenever you see words ending in L, O, N, E, R, loner, they'll be masculine. That's why you have el papel, el libro, el salón, el café, y el color. Okay? There are exceptions to the rules that you need to memorize. You'll be learning as you go. But for now, you should remember these 7. El problema, el sistema, el tema, el poema, el día, el planeta, y el mapa. So a lot of these words that end in ma come from the Greek language. So they are masculine, but don't think that everything that ends in ma is masculine. Only the words are from Greek, like drama, sistema, problema. So you should just memorize the ones that we have right here. So repeat after me. El problema, el sistema, el tema, el poema, el día, el planeta, el mapa. So if you were to make this, for example, problema plural, you say los problemas, right? We'll see later on. Feminine is more complicated. I guess women were more complicated, I guess. So it's not as easy as loner, but you can still memorize it. You have to memorize fade. Just take the F. There are no words in Spanish that end in F except the word golf, which is borrowed from English, right? Golf, like the sports. So just for remembering, say fade, sion, umbre. Repeat out to me. Fade, sion, umbre. So for masculine was loner. For feminine is fade, sion, umbre. And you have to make sure you find this whole thing sion, because loner has an N, right? But the feminine form is sion. So it's la casa, la pared. This you have to memorize. La clase, la calle, la tarde y la noche. La canción, la misión y la costumbre. So whenever you see words that end in this, most likely they will be feminine, except for a few exceptions that you will find as you go. Okay? Excepciones. You also have to memorize these 3 exceptions to the rules. La mano, la moto, la foto. La moto comes from la motocicleta. It's a shorter version to say, instead of motorcycle, you say the bike. Photo from photography also comes from the word fotografía. So it's a shorter version that ends in O, but it's still feminine words, both of them. Okay? So how do you make something singular into plural? In Spanish, if the word ends in vowels, a, e, I, o, u, you just add the s. Okay? For example, la casa becomes las casas. The house, the houses. El libro, los libros. The book, the books. La clase, las clases. The class and the classes. If you notice, if it's feminine, la becomes las, right? Plural el becomes los, okay? So you have to make sure that you recognize which ones are masculine, which ones are feminine, and make sure that you add the article accordingly. If the word ends in a consonant, you add es. So if you have pared, you have to have paredes. Do you see this is a consonant? Consonant, pared. La canción becomes las canciones. And you have to make sure that canciones, when it becomes plural, if it has an accent on ción, the plural form has no accent. La misión, las misiones. The same thing, ción, add es because it is in a consonant, and the accent disappears. Only for the words that end in on, like this with an accent, loses the accent when it's plural. El color, los colores. So you notice everything that ends in a consonant, you add es. If it ends in a vowel, a, e, I, o, u, you add an s. So let's practice a little bit. So this one, you have to pick between el, la, los, las. Would you say el, la? No, really, because those are singular. So you have to pick between los and las. So be los o las pollitos. Los pollitos, because you see the o is plural masculine. What about universidad? Is it loner or fade sion umbre? It's fade sion umbre, right? So it's feminine. And it's singular because there's no s, so you would have el o la. It's actually la. Camiones, plural, ends in loner. Do you see? There's no sion, there's loner. So anything that ends in a consonant, the es is added to make it plural. So this is a plural form. So be los camiones, okay, plural. Carriles, singular, plural. It's plural, right? So you have to pick between los or las. Is it loner or is it fade sion umbre? It's actually loner, right? So loner will be los carriles, which are the lanes. Borrador, loner or fade sion umbre? Loner, right? And it's singular, so be between el or la. Which one is el or la? It's actually el borrador. Okay? Legumbres. I see umbre. Fade sion umbre, right? It's feminine. So be los o las. Las legumbres. Planeta. Ends in an A. So I'm like thinking fade sion umbre. But this one is an exception to the rules. So actually it's el planeta. It's an exception to the rule. It's el planeta, remember el día, el mapa, el poema, the words that we had on the exceptions to the rules. Sion, do you see this sion? You have to go beyond the es and look for the sion hiding in there. So you have las habitaciones. This one is noche, and this one, the ones that end in E, you have to memorize, remember, because it could be feminine or masculine. So it'll be el o la. It's actually la noche, la tarde, la calle, okay? En la clase, you have to memorize. Now, you try to do that in your own. See if you can fill it up. You can pause and come back and look at the answers, okay? Look at the answers. So it should be las, la, los, and los problemas. So there are very few words that I told you that end in E. It's la clase, la tarde, la noche, and also el café. So I only gave you 4 words. All the other words probably end in a consonant. So you have to go beyond the es to find the ending of the words to see whether it's masculine or feminine. Do you see how I go beyond the es? It's the R, okay? So keep practicing and, I'll see you next time. Bye.